Hi everyone, and welcome to The Resilient Kid. We have the lovely Michelle Phelps with us today. Before I introduce Michelle and get her to chat a little bit more, we're just going to give you an update on what's happening with the GoFundMe project. So as most of you know, this project is started with me and Tina and Gareth, and all of those who are in the Resilient Kid group will be very familiar with Tina and Gareth. Gareth jumps in, does live free martial arts lessons for kids, which is lovely. Tina does stuff like yoga, breathing techniques, all those emotional management techniques. And we've got together and wrote a digital course for early years. Now we're only starting with early years because we think it's the earlier these kids get it and get these kind of tools to help them with stuff like friendships and emotional management, how to fail, confidence boosting things, and it's all done in a very fun and engaging activity. And I'm very on brand today. And I just said to Michelle, this was an absolute mistake. So these guys, our little characters, are all part of the program. I've got to do some filming later, hence why I've got the hoodie on. And when we launched this last week, when we launched our GoFundMe page, I think it was about 10 days ago, actually, we launched it. And it was really lovely because I had a couple of friends come on, pop 20 quid in there, go, Ashley, it's brilliant what you want to do. And we had a couple say, I really want to see this in early years. They need it now. And our aim really was to bring it into early years settings and then primary for the ease of the teachers, so that they didn't have to go on after school training, so they didn't have to spend hours doing homework and stuff, but actually the experts would be in the classroom with a flick of a button, be very interactive, it's very physical, and it's lessons and strategies that kids can use now and use for a lifetime. So that's kind of what we did. And then we had a really surprising donation by the lovely Michelle and her hubby Ryan from Hartford Wealth Management. So we will start there. Hi Michelle, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So tell us a little bit, before we move on to this amazing donation that you guys made, tell us a little bit about what you do, because I know friends have been talking to me about you guys for a little while, and I know that when I walk past, when I'm walking through the village, I kind of walk past and think wealth management, wow, you've got to be pretty loaded to walk in there. But that's not the case, is it? It's not just for wealthy people.
No, not at all. And we hear that all the time. People are like, oh, I'll come to you when I've got some wealth. But actually what we do is try and help people plan out their financial journey. So even if you're at the very starting position and you know that you're wanting to start putting some savings aside, but you're not really quite sure how to do it or what the best tax efficient way to do it is, that's where we can sort of help with cash flow modeling for people to really plan out their financial journey and actually get to a point that allows them to live the life that they are wanting to live. So almost starting what's your end goal, and then let us help you put a path in place to get you there, if that makes sense.
And that's amazing. And I don't know if this is supposed to be a secret, but I do know that you were against calling it wealth management. Is that true? Ryan said, let's pick wealth management.
I think for me, as much as lots of businesses in our industry are called wealth management, I think somehow that doesn't necessarily tell people what we actually do. So perhaps financial planning, so we would call ourselves financial planners or financial advisors, is a little bit more fitting. But yeah, I think we've got a lot of work to do to actually help get that message across. And we've got a few bits that we're working on in the background at the moment, actually, with some videos and things, just to help people sort of understand what we actually do and how we can help them and their families.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm personally interested in is, kind of when you've gone, and I believe that you guys help with this, is you've kind of had a job, and you've had a job for say 4 years, and it might be with the NHS or it might be with a company, and then you move on, and so that pension that they've paid into kind of sits there, and then you've moved on to another job, and maybe even another job or more. So my understanding from what, the little bits of conversation that I've had with you and stuff, is that you can help with that, like pull all that together and then help plan out like your actual pension as well.
Exactly. So this happens to lots of people. Not many people have one job and then stay there for the whole of their working life. So over time, they accumulate different pots in different places. And actually, that can be quite hard, even just from an administrative perspective, to know where you're up to with things. So what we can do is help people look at what they've got, sort of bring that all together, and then use that to then look at their financial plan and whether what they've got is going to allow them to live the retirement that they actually are wanting to live, or to give to their children what they're wanting to give. Because we're all living longer, aren't we? And gone are the days where you sort of retire and then it's like, right, well, you sort of got maybe 10 years to potter in the garden and then, you know, you pop your clogs. That doesn't happen anymore. We're retiring and we're young and we're wanting to live, you know, still live our best life. So people are needing more funds. So it's important that they can sort of have that plan as to what their magic number is to get to, that allows them to then retire in the way that they want to retire. So yeah, the sort of financial process has changed a lot over the last few years because of that.
Absolutely. And I mentioned that because for me, that's just an ordinary thing that, you know, most people will have some kind of experience of having those little pots and what to do with it and stuff. So that's kind of why I thought, oh, I'll mention that, because I think that's really important. Just for everyone who's watching live, feel free to pop in a comment, ask any questions, whether it's to Michelle or whether it's to me, feel free. So on to this very, you know, lovely life that we want to plan out for ourselves. I kind of think as well that living a longer life doesn't necessarily make a happier life. And that's why, you know, a lot of my work is around mental health, but not just kind of now when it's in, you know, if somebody comes to me in crisis or if they're really struggling with something, but actually prepping children. And that's one of the things that I was really passionate about, not sitting as with Gareth and Tina, that not sitting on the sidelines, but actually trying to equip these young preschoolers with stuff that can give them that quality and happy life and be able to manage the challenging times. So what made you go, I'm going to help you? Because let me tell you, the donation that you gave, the three of us were filming at the time and we were dancing, absolutely dancing.
Amazing. Whenever anyone starts to talk about mental health, I always try to stop and listen. I think it's something that we've only just started as a sort of society, maybe feeling confident enough to talk about. So whenever people do start talking about their own mental health or things that they're looking to do to support others, I always stop and listen and want to make sure that message gets heard. I've had my own challenges with mental health after having my children. And so it's something I'm passionate about talking about openly. So that was what gripped me first. It's like, okay, we're talking about mental health here, let's have a look. And what I find when I have conversations with my friends about things, we talk about our culture and society, and then we end up talking about teenagers and children and how actually they're not given the skills, or those skills aren't really embedded at school to then mean that they've got that little toolkit that they then need to take them through life, or to give them those basics to be able to look after their own mental health. And in fact, you and I think when we were catching up on Hartford Business Networking, we're having sort of a conversation along those lines. So when I saw your post, first of all, you're talking about mental health, but then actually you were talking about children and about effectively plugging that gap that I talk about all the time. And so it was a no-brainer. As soon as I'd sort of read through your description of what you were looking to do and the program that you were setting up, there was no doubt that we had to get in and support you however we could.
And that's, you know, it was amazing for us. It was really amazing. I think one of the big things that we really want to try and do as well, you know, for me, a business model is all about giving back. So I have a big Facebook group, as most of you know, that is free of charge. And I have people all the time emailing me or messaging me from there. And I always give an hour. Just if I can solve your problem, I'll give you some advice in that hour. Absolutely, you can have that free of charge. And I always do that. So it was really important for us to be able to give back as well. So the donations that are coming in are to help build a bespoke platform. We've already bought a platform. The three of us have, put in our own money for that. But we want to build this bespoke platform to reach as many kids around the world. That's really important to us. But we wanted to do it so that it felt like you guys were giving back as well. So I think it is that I think if you give £15, a child gets the program for a month for free. But Michelle, tell everybody your donation, which was a hefty £500. I know we don't like to talk about it, but actually you well deserve a big pat on the back for that. So tell everybody kind of who benefits from that, your donation, like directly, because not just because anyone can nominate to receive or a child to receive, but who was it that you nominated and what do they get?
Of course. So we nominated Hartford Old Schoolhouse Nursery, which sits under their Paint Pots brand. So there's a few of them that sit under that. So that's in our local village of Hartford. So as a business, we always try and make sure that when we're supporting initiatives, we're supporting our local area as well. Our daughter goes there and loves it there. And, just last week I was speaking, I have ad hoc counselling sessions to look after my mental health. And I was talking about Harper and about her emotional intelligence and trying to sort of, how as a parent do I teach that to her? So for me, when I saw that it was possible through the sponsorship to then support the nursery for them to get access to your package, and it's lifetime access, isn't it, as well, that you're offering? It's unbelievable. To think that there's going to be all these little Harpers coming through the nursery that are all going to big school with that resilience, that program to actually help them understand a little bit more about how to look after their well-being. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's so lovely the way that you put it, because it isn't just for Harper now, who's at the nursery, which is lovely, but also they've got lifetime access. So any new content that goes on there, they'll already have access. They won't have to pay anything extra at all, any add-ons, all that's all theirs, and that is so lovely. And what a gift! And I think you and I spoke the other day about when I made that call to Sarah, who's the manager at the nursery, and I think she thought at first I was selling something to her, because I was like, hi, it's Ashley from the Resilient Kid. I'm just, I'm up the road in Hartford. We've got this digital program and I just want to tell you. And I could hear like she was very curt with me at first. And then I went, and Michelle and Ryan from Hartford Wealth Management, I said, they've actually donated but nominated you to receive the program for free. And she was like, oh, okay. It was like, so it was just so lovely and beautiful for me to be able to do that, but that is all thanks to you and Ryan. So, from us, from the bottom of our heart, thank you. But
I think on behalf of all the people that are going to benefit from the hard work that you and your team have put in, thank you for thinking about the children, and not just thinking about it, but actually getting some skin in the game and getting stuck in to actually develop something to help them, because it's lacking at the moment. So I think what you've done is awesome.
Thank you. And I think it is one of those conversations, isn't it? Like you say, that you have with your friends, that you think, right, okay, this is what you can see what's missing, you can see what they need. And actually, I think the three of us, because we have children come to us all the time with our various roles, and we can see what they're struggling with, we can see, how upset or the challenges that they've got. And we just got to a point where we go, enough already. We're sick of talking about it. Let's do something, let's absolutely do it. And we just said, right, how are we going to do this? How can we do this? And the one good thing I think as well is doing the GoFundMe page means that nurseries or, people who want to donate they can fundraise themselves. We put them in as a team member and they can fundraise themselves. So when they hit the jackpot, then they get lifetime access as well. So, is amazing that you guys have donated and nominated Old School. But for me, it just means this way it's accessible for everybody as well. So, and it was really important that we give back. So thank you for that. It's just brilliant. It has been amazing.
It's awesome, isn't it? I think it's just to think that you can do something that's actually going to make a difference to these little people's lives, because it is as the world changes, it gets harder and harder for our little people, doesn't it? So to give them the skills becomes even more and more important.
Absolutely. And I think it gets harder for us as adults, and as Harper goes up to primary, I've got a son that's going up to high school, and then my older one, she's going into GCSE years. And I think at every stage there's difficulties or challenges that they have to face, and to know that they've got something in the toolbox that can help them through those times. We can't magic wand away those times, and neither do we want to take those challenges away for kids. So, but to give them the tools, and once they've got those tools, to just boost the confidence, knowing that they've got something that they can do as well, is brilliant. Oh, Michelle, thank you for joining us today. You've been an absolute star. I'm going to post some links underneath. So if you guys want to get in touch with Michelle and Ryan, if you've got some of those little pension pots in your filing cabinet and you need them sorting out, or if you'd just like a little roadmap to bring you a life of that you want and that you want to enjoy, you can get in touch with them. I will also put the GoFundMe link underneath as well. Thank you for joining us live today. And Michelle, thank you for all that you do in Hartford. Oh, and before we go, Michelle has her own little mental health initiative this week for Mental Health Awareness Week. Michelle, tell us about your little tree. I love it. I'm going to walk down to it this morning.
Okay, yeah, so we have what we're calling our wellbeing tree outside our office this week, with little green tags that Gift and Party in Hartford have actually donated for people to use. And we're asking people to write on a card what they do to look after their mental well-being. So what do you do that makes you happy? What do you do for self-care? Those sorts of things. So you can write on a little tag, hang it on our tree, and then the plan is that we can then share what Hartford does to look after its well-being. So the weather was against us yesterday, so we're hoping that perhaps if the weather's a little kinder today, we'll have more people pop by and put those on the tree. And then we've got a chalk competition for children as well. So the theme for this year's Mental Health Awareness Week is nature. So we're asking them to sort of weave that into a picture or do a picture of what makes them happy. And there's some prizes to be won for that as well.
Amazing. And I know that the lovely Paula from Hartford Life is going to share those for us as well, isn't she?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So get yourselves down, have a little walk. If you're local to the area, have a walk down to the Hartford Wealth Management and hang your self-care tips on a tree so that we can share them. Will that be at weekend that you're going to share those, Michelle?
I think we're hoping to do it on Friday, weather depending. See how it goes with the weather. Yeah.
My friend Joe and I will be out for a little walk later on this morning, so we will walk down and we'll fill out a little tag, so we'll see you there. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to everybody who's either watching this on replay or watching it live. Please do a hashtag replay, and if you've got any questions, me and Michelle will keep our eye on the page, won't we, Michelle, and answer any of those. So please look after yourselves, especially this week, and reach out if you need any help. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.